Praise God. Let's have a word of prayer and we will continue on there. Let's pray. Master God, we thank you, we praise you for your love and kindness, your grace, your endless mercy. We thank you, God, for the privilege and the honor that you give us and you allow us to be your people. Pray now, Lord, that you would speak to us, that you would encourage our hearts, that you would strengthen our resolve to bring you glory and to live obedient lives unto your will. So we thank you for who you are. Thank you for all that you have done. And God, we submit and surrender to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We're going to, again, go back. We're going, like we've been doing for the past number of weeks now, probably months. We're going to take a look, a deeper look or a closer look at the sermon on Sunday. Again, trying to understand how to love God, what does it look like when we love God, and how our lives can stay out of or need to stay out of certain trouble or certain situations where we find that we are in difficult times, if you will. So let's go to the book of Judges. We'll just read a few verses. Judges chapter 14, 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll go to Judges 16 and read a couple of verses from there. Judges chapter 14, beginning in verse 1, it says, Samson went down to Timnah and saw there a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. His father and mother replied, Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives and among all of our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife? But Samson said to his father, Get her for me. She's the right one for me. All right, let's look at Judges chapter 16. Again in verse 1. One day Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. He went in to spend the night with her. Sometime later he fell in love. We're going to verse 4. Sometime later he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. All the way down to 28. Judges chapter 16, verse 28. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, O sovereign Lord, remember me. O God, please strengthen me just once more, and let me, with one blow, get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Okay. So we, oftentimes we look at Samson and he's this strong hero. And we talk about the strength that he has, the ability that he has, the resource that is his. And because we are so captivated by his strength, that sometimes we overlook some of the other stuff in his life. And in Samson's case, what we overlook is really more as significant, if not more so, than his strength. And I find that many times in life, we do the same thing with other folk around us. We get so captivated by a certain aspect of their lives or their personality or their looks, a certain aspect, their strength, that we're willing to compromise or look beyond other aspects of their lives that may not be as favorable, may not be as pleasing to God. And so if we look at Samson and kind of look at the other side of Samson, we can see not only how we can protect ourselves, that we don't repeat some of Samson's mistakes and follow in Samson's path, but also we can kind of have a check on how we view and interact with other people in our lives. When we look at Samson was conceived pretty much in a miracle with a promise. His mother was barren. His parents couldn't have children. They received word from heaven that they were going to have a son. They were told that he had to be a Nazarite from birth. And so Samson came with both a promise and a call on his life. It wasn't like Samson just, one day stumbled into something. He was born with purpose and promise. He knew that it was announced what he should be. And when we are reborn, even if we didn't know what our purpose and what the promise of our lives was at our natural birth, when we're reborn, we have an idea. We know what the purpose and promise is. The promise is that we are the people of God and that he would watch over us. He would keep us. But the purpose is to give God glory, to worship, to magnify him, to accomplish his will. Every person who's born again is born again with promise and purpose. We know that. And sometimes, like Samson, we get sidetracked and we lose sight that God has promised us some things, but he's also purposed us in his kingdom. And we have some things that we need to do. So what was Samson's problem? What was Samson's issue? What got in his way? I believe that the first thing, one of the things that got in Samson's way was he forgot that other people had to sacrifice for him. See, when you forget that other people sacrificed for you, I start thinking that not only is it all about me, it's all because of me. It's not just that the world evolves around me. There would be no world without me. So we get this inflated idea of our own importance, even to the negative. The Apostle Paul kind of had it to the negative. Paul says, I am the worst of sinners. So, even to the negative, we start thinking that we are so bad, we're worse than everybody else. We're so good, we're better than everybody else. We're so nice, we're kinder than everybody else. It's when we start thinking whatever that aspect of our lives is that we're fixated on, somehow it supersedes the condition of other folks' lives. We're in this Samson syndrome. We have this issue because we're now focused on ourselves, even when it's negative, even when we think it's, the quality that we're looking at is not an admirable one, it's not a good one, but it's still captivating our minds, it's still taking over our time. So it's doing the same thing, it just got you looking at the other end of the stick, okay? So it's functioning the same way. So Samson forgot that his mama had to sacrifice for him. He forgot that his daddy had to sacrifice, that they had to live a certain way, that they had to treat him and abide by him a certain way. He forgot that they were under divine orders as to how they were supposed to handle him. So it wasn't that they could just handle him however they wanted to. They had instructions. God gave instructions as to how they were supposed to deal with their son, Samson. And Samson didn't make their following their instructions easy. Okay? He didn't make it simple for them. So when you think, or when I think that my life is the center of everybody's universe, what happens is we see what goes on with Samson, and we start to rebel. And Samson rebelled against everybody. He rebelled against God. He rebelled against his parents. He rebelled against the call that God had on his life. He rebelled against the religion or his faith that his people practiced. He rebelled even against his people. Samson rebelled against everybody because he thought that nobody else's stuff was right, that nobody had a right to tell him how he should do, what he should do, how he should live. He's his own thing. He's living his own life. He's living his best self. Can't nobody tell me what to do. So when Samson is acting like this, what basically happens is you begin to, as he did, rebel or reject everybody who you think come against you. And by come against you, it usually means you don't give me what I want or you don't agree with me. If you don't give me what I want and you don't agree with me, somehow you come against me, and therefore now I rebel. And what is his rebellion? Nobody has the right to tell Samson what to do. So what is he? So nobody has authority. If no one has authority in your life, you're out of control.
Come on.
If no one can tell you what to do, if no one has a right to speak direction, correction, and knowledge into your life, you are out of control. Your thinking is tied up all in yourself, and the only thing you're listening to is you. And you are probably the worst counsel for yourself.
Come on.
You know, it's difficult to give yourself advice when your passions and emotions and feelings and body all get in the way. It's hard to give yourself good, sound advice. You at least need somebody else to be a sounding board and kind of say back to you what you just said, so you can hear how rational or irrational it is, whichever one fits. So Samson had this thing where he just rejected the authority, and because he rejected authority, rebelled against everybody, he could do what he wanted. He had a right to do what he wanted. So what did Samson do? He lived a life of deceit. He was deceitful. He lived a life that was vengeful. He was always taking revenge on somebody. He wasn't forgiving. He wasn't kind. It was always revenge. If you do something to me, I'm coming at you. It was always revenge, and he always did it in a violent way. So Samson was deceitful, vengeful, and violent, with nobody who can control him, nobody who has authority over him, nobody he would listen to. So when Samson knows that eating honey from the carcass of a dead lion will render a Jew unclean, but yet he feeds it to his parents and renders them unclean without them even knowing what he has done, what kind of heart does that? You know, and he gives them honey, just here, have it, and he renders them unclean, and they don't even know it. And why would he do that? You know, why would that happen? It's not like they even asked him for the honey.
Right.
He offered it to them, just to I guess, to make them like him. I don't know, because he was already jacked up. He was already unclean. He was already living against the dictates of the people of God, against Judaism. He was already living against that. So what happens is he gets them to come along by giving them this unclean honey. He goes off and he leaves his wife in a huff because she gives away his secret. Then after a while he cools out and he wants to be with her. So he goes, and only to find out that her father has given her to his best man because he thought that Samson didn't want her no more, and their marriage was never consummated. So now Samson gets mad, so he grabs 300 fox or jackals or however you want to call it, tie their tails together, light them on fire, and send them out into the wheat fields of the Philistine people. Wow. He didn't just attack the father or that family. He sent them out into the Philistine people. He burnt it all down. And then when the Philistine people found out, they killed the family, his wife and daddy on him, and he got mad again and went and found a fresh jawbone and went to work. Wow. So Samson was violent, but his words are telling, because Samson said, after they had killed his wife and father-in-law and family, Samson said, now I am justified, now I am right in my actions. In other words, he knew that what he had done before, he wasn't really justified in doing. It wasn't right. So why would he have to say, now I am justified, if he was justified all along? Because he knew that somehow his stuff wasn't right. And I don't care how far adrift we go and how many lies we tell like we think we right. We know.
Come on, Pastor. We
know it's something. We may not be able to say exactly what's wrong with it, but we know it ain't right. We know we're not justified. We know we're not behaving right. We know we shouldn't be acting like this, talking like that. We know this. We shouldn't be going there being with this one, going over there. We know. But we tell ourselves, as Samson did, I have a right. And then when they do something, the world does something in response, now he said, now I really have a right. Now I'm really justified. I can go for it now. And that's what he did. He went for it. And it was kind of crazy. All right? So Samson rejected the authority, deceitful, vengeful, violent, willing to contaminate his parents. Can't nobody tell him what to do. He's out there. Throughout his entire life, Samson made decisions like that, based on himself and himself alone. Samson made choices, decisions, living on what satisfied Samson. And that's the teaching of this world. This world wants us to behave like Samson. It teaches us, do what feels good to you. You only go around once in life. Live it up. You know, if you don't take care of number one, who's going to take care of number one? If they can't hold it, they can't hold on to it, they don't deserve it. If he can't keep her, she ain't his. All that kind of stuff the world wants us to live by, because the world is selfish in nature. The world wants us to live only for ourselves, or primarily for ourselves, and only deal with people as they can help us or hurt us. So the world is doing that. So Samson demanded his parents give him an uncircumcised, well, she wasn't circumcised, but a wife from uncircumcised people, a Philistine wife, demanded that happened. Samson went into a prostitute just to spend the night with her. Now he's supposed to be the judge, the leader of the people. And he is in the home, the house, the place of business of a unclean pagan prostitute. Okay? So that's where and he just went to spend time. I'm going, I ain't that bad. I'm just over there. I was just there a little while. And how many times you people, justify what they're doing by saying that ain't really me. I ain't gonna do it long. Just this once. It only happened a few times, or it didn't mean nothing. I mean, how many times you hear that kind of stuff said, and people want to use that to justify being in the prostitute's house, being over there where you shouldn't be and doing what you shouldn't do. You can't do it. And then Samson, making decisions just for himself, chooses Delilah. He goes and puts his head in the wrong lap. Spend time with Delilah. But what grabbed me was his final prayer. That's the reason I put it in our text as we read it. His final prayer, he didn't pray that God would be glorified. He didn't pray that God would revenge his people. Samson prayed that God would give him the strength to take vengeance on the people because they took his eyes. Samson's prayer was, God, make me strong enough to take vengeance on them for what they did to me. Where is God's character in that? Why would we ask God to step outside of his character to please us? Now God's will, he used Samson because he had a plan. In the very beginning of the text, very beginning of the Samson story, when Samson said, give me the wife, and the parents say, well, don't you have, Asian people around here? The writer of Judges says, but they didn't know that this was of God, because God was stirring up something between the Israelites and the Philistines so he could deliver them. So God had already started the plan. Now, because God started the plan to deliver the people, by making Samson desire this Philistine woman, or allowing Samson to desire this Philistine woman, don't mean that God wanted Samson to live crazy. How Samson chose to walk that thing out was on Samson. It had nothing to do with the fact that God chose him to be the deliverer, or begin to be the initiator of the deliverance of his people. How he walked that out is because he was out of control. The call got in front of him. He had the benefit of the call without acknowledging the responsibility of the call. So we can't necessarily live, or can't live that way. And that's how Samson, he prayed and got in trouble. Samson's self-absorbance, being absorbed with self. And y'all, I know why I keep saying Samson, but it's not hard for any of us to become self-absorbed.
Right.
If there's enough pain in our lives, all of a sudden, all we care about is us.
Right.
If there's an opportunity in front of us that we ain't never had before, and the opportunity looks like opportunity is really gonna help us and move us forward, we can become locked in on self. If we feel we've been wrong and we have a right, we can be locked in on self. It's not far-fetched and not unthinkable that any one of us at one time or another can find ourselves being self-absorbed, so self-conscious and self-thoughtful of self that we miss what God is doing. We miss and forget that God got us on assignment. We miss and forget that the strength that we have is God-given and should be God-glorifying. We miss that because we become so self. Now, to be self-absorbed usually means either I want something or I'm against something. If I'm self-absorbed, it's because I'm ready to advance and get something, I want it, or I'm self-absorbed, I gotta protect myself because something is coming at me. And I gotta look out for me. Samson was self-absorbed, but his self-centeredness led him to undervaluing and misusing and abusing everybody around him. Because he was so fixated on self. Now, if you talk to him, he may say, that's not what I want, that's not my heart. If you sit down and have a meal with him and laugh with him, he may say, well, that's not who he really is, he's a nice guy. But when he gets locked in on self, he becomes one who sees other people as opportunity, as a way to something, as a resource to get his thing done. And when we start treating the creation of God like it's our personal resource to make our lives work, we're running into trouble. We're in over our heads. So this dude Samson, he undervalues, misuses, and abuses everybody. This kind of guy we want to hang out with, right? Yeah. Samson's the kind of dude we want to spend time with. Because he's strong. He got long, pretty hair. You know, he fight good. So we want to hang out with him, you know, because he got a good position. He's the judge of all the people. He got good. He can talk to people in authority, with authority, and they gotta listen to him. That's the kind of people the world trying to hang out with, and that's the kind of people that people like to network with. You're not looking at someone's heart. You're not looking at their kindness. You're not looking at how they serve and love God. Most times, people look at folk based upon what their strength can offer them. Is what can your strength give me? What you have benefit me? And so many times Samsons in our world are elevated above those who are meek and humble. The Samsons in our world are applauded and appreciated more so than others who are more concerned about the people around them. That's right. And the Samson is Samson because he's strong. He ain't a weak dude. He's strong. So to deny his strength would be not only wrong, it'd be reckless because he's strong. Mm-hmm. But to elevate him because of his strength is dangerous. And we find ourselves putting people in and out of office based upon their strength, that we say, how can their strength benefit me? Not that their strength is right, not that it's holy, it's how can it benefit me?
All right.
Okay? And that's how we're taught to vote that way. We're taught to look at candidates and say, how can they help your life? Not if they're good, not if they're bad, not if they're serving God, not if they're against God, not if they uphold the things of God, not if they love life. We're not looking at those soft things, those intangibles. We're saying, how are they going to help your life? Will you eat better? Will you live better? Will you drive better? Will your kids get a better education? How are they going to help your life? Will you move from renting to owning? Will you have a better job? Will you get a raise on your job? How will they help your life?
Right.
That's what we're taught, and that's what we vote. And usually we get what we get because we believe that they're going to help us rather than be a good person and be who they are in office. Okay? So Samson is dealing with this way. I said Sunday, and I'm asking again today, is why didn't Samson ever stop and ask, "What, do y'all love me?" Why didn't Samson ever ask them? Have you ever been in a situation, be it a relationship or in court or in the doctor's office or at your dining room table, in a situation where you didn't ask the question because you didn't want to answer and you believed that you knew what the answer was? You wanted to ask the question, but you didn't ask the question because you thought you knew the answer and you didn't want to hear it. You didn't want that. You didn't want that answer to come. But let me ask you, because they didn't tell you the answer, because you didn't ask the question, did it change the answer? No. So just because I don't ask the question, which lets you off the hook and you don't have to get the answer, it makes me feel better because I don't have to hear the answer. It don't change the answer.
Come on.
The answer is still the same. It's still a no. It's still a yes. It's still you owe too much. It's still you need to lose weight. It is still the same answer. It's the same one. So just because I don't ask and don't know, don't mean the answer has changed. And so Samson never asked the question, "Do you love me?" But the answer remained the same. They didn't.
Okay.
They did not. And we can look at Samson's life through his interactions with people. I said Sunday through his lustful relationship with women, and you can mark it that way. But if you just watch Samson, just get in his back pocket when you read that text. Get in Samson's back pocket and eavesdrop on the conversations and how he deals with people. You'll see that Samson never ever paused to see how somebody else was feeling. He never stopped to try to understand how somebody else was thinking. He didn't want to know. He didn't care enough to know. Knowing wasn't important. So how are you going to be in a relationship with someone, a real relationship, and not know anything of them or about them? The Bible says, and I'm going to put this as tactful as I can, but it's in the Bible. The Bible says that Samson, after he got mad because his wife gave away the riddle, he left. Then after a while, he came back. He went to the door. The girl's father answered the door. Samson said, "I'm here because I want to be with my wife, your daughter, in her bedroom." Now, you've been gone all this time.
Right.
You left her there. You went away. And the first thing you say to her daddy who answered the door is, I'm here to be with her in her bedroom. Let me in. That's the first thing. Now, I understand there's a cultural difference.
Wow.
I understand that there's a difference of time frame. So I understand that the social stuff might be different. But it seems to me that a hello might be in order.
I know, right?
It might be, how are you doing may work.
Right.
But just to show up and say, I'm here for that, get out of my way, is kind of telling. And sometimes most of the time when we become self-absorbed and fixated on ourselves, we're in Judges chapter 16. When we get fixated on ourselves like Samson did, that's what we do. We live for self. Other people's feelings, other people's thoughts, other people's desires simply don't matter. Now that's don't matter is different to say I don't care, at least in my vernacular. See, don't matter simply means it doesn't raise to the level of me having to consider it in relationship to what I want. So what you want really has no impact on my desire and what I want. So when I think about what I want and what I'm going to do, your situation don't matter. It don't change anything. Don't care says I have no feelings about it. So when people say, I do care, they may care, but it don't matter.
Right.
So they care. They care that you feel that way. If they could have what they want and give you what you want all at the same time, they would. They care about you. They care about what's going on. They don't want to see you like that. They care. But the care and concern doesn't rise to the level of matter. It doesn't matter. Because if you have to sacrifice for me to get what I want, then you just have to make that sacrifice. Because that's what I want. That's what I need. And unfortunately, so many folk live that way. They live with the concern for folk, but that concern doesn't matter in the choices and decisions that they make. Now, what happens if Christians start living like that? What happens if Christians start living like, I care about the sin in the world, but I can't change what I'm doing right now to address it. I care that people are going through, I'm concerned, and I would if I could, but right now, it doesn't matter. I can't stop. I can't give. I can't say. I can't be. What happens when the church starts living that way? What happens is we get what we got. The church, for many folk, becomes irrelevant. The church, for many folk, become a place where they come for convenience. If it's convenient, I go. If it ain't convenient, I don't go. The church is where they come when they feel guilty or need an emergency room. It is not a place necessarily where they're coming to embrace and need and worship God. Why? Because so many of us, from pulpit to door, basement to steeple, so many of us have lived our lives, our Christian lives. I care about you, but right now, it doesn't rise to the level of matter. I care, but I still gotta be me. I still gotta do me. I still gotta have me. So I can't put me aside to deal with you.
Right.
So when they say to me, I care, I say, yeah, okay, I understand you care. You got feelings about it, but does it matter? Does your feelings about this thing rise to the level of influencing, impacting, and informing the choices and decisions that you make?
Are you willing to sacrifice?
Are you willing to at least give it a full hearing in the midst of the rest of your stuff? When you say you care about what's going on in my life, Are you at least willing to put what matters to you on the table with that? And see which one really rise to the level of what God wants you to do and how God wants you to act? Because if we don't, people say all the time, I care. And we say, no, you don't. Well, they really do. They do care. Because it's relative. That doesn't, you can care this much or care this much. It doesn't, that don't really say anything. I care. That don't mean nothing. But you start asking the question of matter. And by my definition, matter, does it rise to the level of importance that it influences and has the ability to change your choices and your decisions? If it doesn't, then it don't matter. It only matters if it can shape how you behave and how you think. Other than that, it don't matter. You just hear me. And you wish me well. You're concerned about me. But I don't really matter. Okay? Okay. So Samson, so if you follow him, get in his back pocket. Just walk with him. It starts when he talks to his mom and dad. Look how he talked to him. Get her for me. Well, they said, wait a minute. Let's follow family tradition here. Your relatives and your own people. He said, no. Get her for me. I want her. She's the right one for me. Well, no, you're talking to your mama and your daddy. But when your world evolves around you, talking to mama and daddy, talking like anybody else, if they have the resource you need to get what you want. It doesn't really matter if it's mama, daddy, grandpapa, whoever, babysitter, police. It don't matter. If they have the resources that you think you need in order to get what you want and do what you think you need to do for you, you're going to say and do and treat them all the same. Now, and I can prove it to you that people care. Because if Samson had walked up on a Philistine talking to his mom and dad like that, the Philistine would have an issue. Because, in other words, Samson said, don't talk to my people like that. Because he would have taken it personally. It wouldn't have been about mama and daddy. It would have been about how dare you talk to my people like that. See, because it's all about Samson. And what I'm trying to get us to see is when we live our lives just for us, or not just, primarily focused on us. When we live this self-absorbed, self-centered life, it leads not only to us misappropriating God's gifts, it leads to us living lives in the negative, where we become dishonest and violent and vengeful and resentful, and we live our lives always discounting and marginalizing others. Others are seen, we don't see them, we undervalue them, and we don't see their skill, their love, their ability. We don't see them for who they are. We only see them for what they can do. We only see them for what they give, how they make us feel or don't feel. I don't like being around them. They're just a downer. Everything. What? It ain't about them. It's about how you, when you're feeling, how they make you feel, right? So we have to come to that place where we're not living that way. Because when we're driven in that selfish desire, driven by our own passions and things like that, we end up like old Sam. Sam ended up living his life with blind spots, stuff he couldn't see, stuff he refused to look at. You know that they ain't no good. You know that they're lying, but you won't press it because you don't want to expose the lie. Because if you expose the lie, then you got to deal with them as a liar. But if you don't expose the lie, then you can trick yourself into thinking they're telling the truth. So you don't push them. You don't expose the lie. You leave the blinders on. Now again, let me ask. If you don't ask the question, expose the lie, does that mean they're telling the truth? What do you think? Are they a truthful person? If I don't ask the question that expose the lie that they're telling me to take advantage of me, but I want to believe what they're saying, so I don't ask the question because I don't want to expose the lie, The only person that I'm hurting is me.
That's right.
I only hurt me. Because they don't change how they feel. It don't change the fact that they still lying to me. It don't change the fact that they lying to me because they try to take advantage of me. So the only person that I hurt is me because I refuse to see the truth. And by refusing to see the truth, I accept a lie. And accepting a lie, a known lie, I don't even know the word for that, but it's not smart. So we have to come to the place where no, the devil lies to us. And we need to stop listening to it, call him on it, and leave him with it.
Amen.
Stop listening to it, call him on it, and leave him with it. Because if the more he lies, the more he convinces us that it's close to the truth. And how many know if you really want something, if you really want to say something, if you really want to go somewhere, you can always create a hypothetical to justify your position. You can always, what if he had only $2 and he was stuck out on the middle of the ocean on a raft? And so you can always talk and create a hypothetical that makes something possible. But don't deal with possible, deal with not only practical, but reasonable. It's possible. It is possible that we're all right now in the middle of a dream of somebody we don't know. That's possible. But it is not reasonable.
Amen.
It don't make sense.
Right.
So don't follow something because it's possible. Because you can create a hypothetical to make anything possible. The best liars lie in possibilities.
Amen.
So we have to come to a place where, no, but that don't make sense. That I know you're lying to me, and I know you're lying to me. And for me to believe it doesn't make sense. It only helps you and it hurts me.
Right.
Samson was challenged in his travels. He was challenged by his wife and Delilah to prove his love for them. And the way that he was supposed to prove his love for them was he was supposed to deny himself to demonstrate how much he loved them. I know that that's a trick out there. Because if somebody wants you to prove your love for them without ever acknowledging their love for you, and they want you to prove your love by hurting or putting yourself at a severe disadvantage for their convenience or their will or purpose, I recommend you dig deeper. I recommend that you ask the questions. You see, because, and I know some people, if you think about this, you say, yeah, but God asked you to deny yourself because he loves you, and real love is if you deny yourself, a husband and wife, and they really love each other, they deny themselves. Now, there's a difference between denying yourself and betraying yourself. See, to deny yourself means I'm willing to make a sacrifice of myself for your benefit because I know that love is coming back. I'm willing to deny. I don't have to give up who I am. I make this sacrifice because of our relationship. To betray myself would be I had to now do something I wouldn't do to prove my love. I had to now go get drunk with you to prove I love you. I now got to give up my virginity to prove that I love you.
Yes.
I now got to slip off and go in the back room to prove that I love you. It's all of those things I got to steal from my job to help you pay a car note. to prove that I love you. All of that kind of stuff now is putting who? It's putting you in jeopardy. It's putting you at risk. And it's asking you to not only deny who you are, but to betray who God has called you to be. There's a difference. God don't ask us to betray. He didn't say betray who you are. He says come as you are. A husband and a wife don't ask one to betray who they are. They love and accept the individual for who they are, and they grow together. It's not give me all of you and take none of me. And so Samson's, the ladies in his life, that's what they were doing. They said, look, if you love me, you'll tell me. Tell me. And it says, I thought this was cute. I thought y'all may not see the humor or you may not see the irony in it, but I thought it was cute that both women got Samson to tell because they nagged him. Look, they kept at him. They kept jawing at him and nagging. And one of the greatest stories about Samson is he killed the Philistine with a jawbone.
That's man's perception of woman.
No, it's not a bad. It's not a bad conception. What I'm saying is, for me, the irony is not a comparison with a woman and the jawbone that he used to fight with. It was the fact that the very thing he was victorious with in anatomy and in comparison is also what he fell victim to. The very thing that Samson was victorious with, his strength, is also what he fell victim to. So that was for me that was the irony of it is that you won a great battle with a jawbone, but you also lost greatly by someone using the jawbone. So it was just that y'all didn't okay. Hope y'all see it. You see me? All right. Good. Good. As long as you got me, man. I'm trying here because it's just how it's written and how he overcame and then he fell to it. Then strong, and then he fell to it. It says that when we put our confidence and depend on whatever that aspect of our life is that we take so much pride in, or we look so intently upon, we trust in it. When we put our confidence in that and not God, it's going to fail us. It's going to somehow defeat us. It's going to abandon us and not show up at the appropriate time. So that's where that was going. Okay? When we find Samson all the way through his walk, Samson valued people based upon how useful they were to him. One thing that we ought to know is we should know and pay attention and don't let no one take advantage of us based upon how they see us as being useful. Now we get to decide, quite frankly, to a level of matter. If God have me to help you, bless you, it doesn't matter to me if you think that you took advantage of me. It really don't matter to me. It's not changing my decision. I care. I really don't like it. But it don't matter. I'm going to do it anyway because I think that's what God wants me to do. So I'm not saying that, if somebody think they're getting over, you never help them or you never bless them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is we ought to take blinders off. We ought to know if somebody's hanging out with us or rejecting us, all because it's useful to them. They show up, they want to be our friends when we're in the right places. when we have the right friends, now they want to be our friend. When we, you know, they want to be with us when they don't have a job. When they get a job, they don't. They you know, it's like, no, you really only value me based upon your concept or your understanding of my usefulness to your life. And that's okay that you have that perception. However, I get to decide what I do with that. I get to decide how I glorify or magnify God within that process. Okay? I want y'all to tell me something. And I really want, that's not a rhetorical. I really want to know what you think. When Samson laid down in Delilah's lap, the last time when he got the haircut, he was asleep so soundly that he got a haircut. It didn't wake him up. Why was he so peaceful? Why I know I said some stuff about it on Sunday. He was asleep. But she was trying to set him up 2-3 times before. The same scenario. You gonna sleep that hard? I can hear you.
I said she got that whip appeal.
Well, okay. So we know why he sleep. We know what put him to sleep. But my question is, why didn't the haircut wake him up? Why didn't the barber coming out pulling on the hair, the scissors, the razor, whatever it was they used, why didn't it wake him up? His hair had never been cut. Black folk hair ain't never been cut. It wasn't free flowing.
Long?
What? His hair was too long?
Was his hair long?
Yes, his hair was very long.
But sometimes just that long, you can't feel nothing cut through your hair. It's according to where they cut it at. It's at the top, middle, bottom.
They cut it off.
It said they shaved off his locks.
Well, he was just drunk, but he just...
I think he was really comfortable with his arrogance that nothing could overcome him. So he was just real peaceful with that. He didn't think nothing could touch him.
Just comfortable in his arrogance. I'm above all of this. Did the 3 times that she tried before it failed, did that work in his favor or against him?
Probably figured that she would just keep yelling.
I don't think he actually thought that if he lost his hair, he would not have any strength. I really think that he thought, I'll be able to still make it on my own. You know, like he didn't have that knowledge, confidence, and relationship in the covenant that God had with him. That his hair was symbolic of it. I think he thought that I'd still be cool even without my hair, even though God said don't do it.
Okay, so you're saying that when he said to her, the Bible indicates that he had a change of heart. He revealed her heart and his heart, and it said that she lived to see that this time he gave her his heart, right? But what he said was, if I cut my hair, I'd be like any other man. So he didn't believe that?
I don't think he did.
Okay.
I think that, or he didn't believe that she would actually take the truth and hurt him with it. That's craziness on his part.
Okay, he didn't believe that she would actually do it, and we got over here, he didn't believe that she could actually do it. We got a would and a could.
I think he knew both because I think it kind of goes back to that he knows the truth, but he won't ask it. So even though she didn't say it, he still knows what actually happened. I think he just didn't want to accept the truth.
Oh well, I tried to turn off the air conditioner. I was hitting 15 buttons. I don't know which one it is. Okay. I'm sorry. I was trying to turn it off because I couldn't hear you.
I said I think he knew that she would, but because he never really asked her, it was that kind of like she didn't tell the truth, but at the same time he never really asked her, so he never really had to accept it as the truth.
Okay, so he kind of knew that she was trying to play him, but he didn't ask it because he didn't want to know, so he didn't accept it. So he didn't believe she could do it because he was just arrogant and think nobody could hurt him. Didn't believe that she would do it, or even if she did, it wouldn't have any impact on him because the hair wasn't really the thing, and that, well, she probably out to do something, but I didn't ask her, I don't know, head in the sand, ain't gonna worry about it.
What about he was just being a man?
I can hear you.
What about he was just being a man? I mean, no offense, guys. But what I'm saying is, sometimes women, we women, we know how we are, you know, and because I don't even sound well with this young woman is here, you know, but
Yeah.
she on him pretty good, and he liked it so much that he just blew his mind.
Right.
That's what I mean by him just being a man.
Right. Now, I got you. And that's what I was trying to say when I said we know why he went to sleep. So my question is not necessarily what. No, I ain't calling you Jay.
No,
my question is not what put him to sleep. Well, I think we all agree on. We kind of know what did it. The question is why so peacefully and why so
But
deep.
that's what I'm saying. Because of that, he was so content in it. You know, he didn't believe that she would do that to him.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm.
Oh, so he took that as you really care about me.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go there now.
Comatose.
So she put in, she comes.
Comatose.
Yeah. Okay, Jay.
I don't know. This is a consideration. What if he got to the point where he just really didn't care anymore? Where he was tired of living up to what, this birthright of this thing that had been
That's right.
Exactly. Where he was to the point where, you know what, I'm done with it. I know what's going to happen, or at least I have to think that he had a sense that would happen. And maybe it was his way of just saying, I've come to the point where I don't want to do that anymore. And after all of the things that occurred afterwards, he realized what a heavy price, what that actually cost him. Like, even though, I don't know, I mean, that's just kind of, it's like a person that's tired of lying, like tired of cheating, tired of stealing, and they know they're going to get caught, so they do it as a way of
Saving their lives.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very real possibility. I think that's helpful, especially in our practical understanding of how that text can live out. I was just going to ask you on the reverse side of that, what could it be that he not just tired of doing it, because maybe he's never done it. Maybe he's just tired of trying to do it and failing. Maybe he's just tired of, I can't live up to it, so he gives up. And that's possible. I don't know that any of it yet, or all of it, could explain the peace.
Pastor, you said several times about something not mattering or caring about what doesn't matter. It's very comfortable with her. And to be with her, it didn't matter. He was proven and they were supposedly to one another what they felt. So he didn't care about anything else. It just didn't matter.
So he didn't care about anything else, because the text starts out when he met her, we read it, that he saw her and loved her. Now, he didn't say that about anybody else. It says he saw her and loved her. So it could be that it just didn't matter.
So that's just kind of back to something you said Sunday when you were saying, folks, don't you prove your love while you pursuing others. I feel like he was proving his love to her by being comfortable and still trusting her after the attempts before. Whereas with his wife, you know, he wasn't proving to her his love.
Okay.
Like vulnerability.
Yeah, because with the wife, he was losing a bet. With her, he was losing his head.
It's hard.
His heart, his strength. He put it all
He
on.
lost
on
himself.
line.
He lost himself.
He lost himself.
Purpose.
Huh?
He lost his purpose.
He lost his purpose, or that was the last step to find it. But either way, he ended up not drastically changed. And I say that only because of his final prayer. You know, his final prayer was, let me revenge my eyes. It wasn't a prayer for God's intervention to help anyone other than himself.
Yeah, because it was God.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's directly about your question, but sometimes just because a person, and I'm trying to like formulate the words right,
Okay?
but just because a person is self-centered does not mean that they have a good self-esteem.
Right.
So I wonder if his sense of self and worthiness, like being enough, being adequate, like truly was secure, or whether his whole life was an overcompensation for not living up to, not measuring up, not feeling good enough. And I just wonder in that moment where he is essentially being vulnerable and exposing himself to this woman, I wonder where his self-worth was and his self-esteem was. Because just because you're self-centered or selfish doesn't mean that you have high self-esteem.
It usually means the exact opposite, doesn't
Right,
it?
you can still very much not consider yourself worthy or
Right.
enough or good enough. And so for him to trust a woman who has proven over and over that he didn't matter to her, that he was a means to an end, I wonder how he felt about himself. And even in his selfishness in reaching out for others and you know, I want this wife, I want this prostitute. None of it was really fulfilling to him. None of it met the need that he actually had. And I guess that goes back to like the covenant, you know, and being a Nazarite and the purpose. But it's like he never, I wonder if he ever truly saw himself as being able to be that person or the worthiness of that, or God's called him on his life. And even to the end, he couldn't really see beyond something very certain.
I think that's absolutely right. Because to be self-absorbed, to be so committed to self that your world revolves around you, is, in my mind, in my understanding, is almost proof positive of low self-esteem. You don't have a high value, even though you may not voice it. You have these holes and cracks in you that you see that sometimes you try to cover over and not fill. But the Samson story is really all of our story, because we all have that. The one thing that Samson could never do was to embrace his relationship with God enough that he didn't have to have self-gratification. He didn't have to please himself and fulfill all of his passions for pleasure. He didn't have to do that if he had found that fulfillment in Christ, who would fulfill him. So all of us have a Samson syndrome going on, and it's only when we let Christ fill us and we live to fulfill Christ's mission in our lives that we get to see the true value of who we are and who God has really made us to be. if we don't do that, then we will run the path of Samson, and we'll keep living to please ourselves. And as crazy as it sounds, sometimes letting someone abuse you so it feels like they care about you is what you want. But you can't go so far down that road if that's really where you are. So you gotta stop soon. You gotta stop short of that. You gotta find where God is the one who's fulfilling you, because he truly do love you and he's concerned about you. Okay?
Amen.
All right. Praise God. Come on, let's pray. Thank you so very much. What did I do wrong?